Scott Hine, Chris Gilly, incoming, Susan Roll, Tom Wilson, David Foster, Brian Smith, Robin Shelton, Eric Lohman, and Bill Hulbert. Gentlemen, thanks for your service. Tonight, too, it's always a special treat to introduce our past presidents that are with us this morning, and if you, too, would be kind enough to stand. With us this morning, Tom Addis, also the past president of the PGA of America, Jerry Anderson, Patrick Casey, David Foster, Bill Hulbert, Andy Tooney, and Bob Lovejoy. Gentlemen, thank you for this. And speaking of Bill Hulbert, why don't you come forward? Thanks.
Good morning, everyone. We are now about to do probably the most important thing that we will do today, as important as golf is and all the other things. We are going to elect two future leaders of the section. It is time to elect two at-large directors for the board of directors. When you checked in, you should have received a ballot. If you are an eligible voting member and you did not receive a ballot, I need you to go up front and check in and pick one up. Very, very important, okay? And I want you to understand, too, that when we do finally vote, you need to sign your name, print your name, and put your PGA member on this to make it official. As I mentioned, we are, well, a lot of them, okay, good. So there's a fault in the system here somewhere. As I mentioned, we are going to elect two at-large directors for the board. The election will be by secret ballot, by voting members only. We also have absentee ballots that have been sent in prior to today. Those also will be counted. Each candidate shall be presented by a verbal nomination, maximum 2 minutes in length, and each candidate will then be given the opportunity to speak on his or her behalf for a maximum of 3 minutes. At the end, I will call for the close of nominations. Okay? We have, again, as mentioned, 2 spots, and we have 5 candidates that wish to seek election. The first nomination is for Randy Chang. Nominating Randy Chang is Michael Watt. Michael?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Michael. I'm the head golf professional at Arroyo Chico Golf Club in Mission Viejo. Welcome, Randy. You gonna come stand here next to me? First of all, I started working with Randy at Arroyo back in 2004. Randy was the director of instruction there at the club. I got to know Randy quite well, working with him, playing with him, going to his chicken chain events at his house. Had a great time. And to say the least, as you can see, Randy is running for the board. He's looking to give back to the PGA Southern California section. That's a lot more than can be said for a lot of us in this room. And obviously, we look up to Randy and what he's doing right now. And hopefully he gets the nomination today. First of all, when you're looking for someone to run and someone to be on the board, obviously you need someone who has been in the industry and has plenty of experience, because that's who's going to be running this section, and obviously we want to go forward, not backwards. Now, Randy has done everything in the industry you could possibly think of. He's been outside service, he's been in a picker, he has been the, obviously, director of instruction, assistant golf professional, head professional, general manager. He runs companies now. He has a couple different teaching programs at a couple different golf courses here in Southern California and also in Hawaii. He's been the section teacher of the year, metropolitan teacher of the year. He's been on the board for, 2 different chapters here in this section already. So obviously it's a no-brainer here to check Randy Chang as a new section board of directors. Good luck, Randy.
the name of Randy Chang has been placed in nomination. Do we have a second?
Second.
So moved. Randy Chang.
Thank you, Bill. Good morning. While Mike just left, let's acknowledge him in the year that he's had on the golf course. I think the golf is in a good place. I think our section is in a good place. Again, we have representation, like Michael Block, who has done something that no one's done in a long time. We have Paul Levy here, who is now representing us on a national level, which is, again, very exciting to see. When I first got into this business 30 years ago, Tom Addis was our president of our national body. I was working for a golf professional in the Pacific Northwest. His name is Jerry Moulds, who was, again, one of my mentors. That was fortunate enough to win the National Club Professional of the Year. So I've been very blessed on being around a lot of good people coming up through my career. People, like I said, that I've looked up through the years, being Tom Addis, being one, Jerry Anderson, Andy Tooney, David Foster, these people that I've been looked up to for many years, and basically just surrounded myself with these good people and good leaders. It's time for me to give back, and I believe I have that time right now. I'm in a position in my life where I've got great people working under me. I've always asked Michael, how do you get all this time off to play all these tournaments every week? Well, the reason that he can is because he has a great support system. I know how he works as a head professional. He started as an assistant at Royal 10 years ago, it's been. And the people he has under him, a lot of people are in this room here today that have started as assistants like we all have, has supported the people that are able to do the things that we're doing right now. I have that same situation where I have some great instructors that help run my facilities and my programs. Brandon O, Jordan Thomas, who just came in from the Florida section, Sean Lanning, who just got on board with one of our programs here at Black Gold. So because of that, I'm allowed the time to spend representing the body that's in here today. And I look forward to that challenge, and I appreciate your support in your vote. Thank you.
Our second candidate is Joe Groman. Nominating Joe is Eric Lohman.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm Eric Lohman, General Manager of Monarch Beach Golf Links, and I'm here today to nominate Mr. Joe Groman for the Board of Directors of the section of the Southern California PGA. For those of you who don't know Joe, Joe is one of a kind and one of the most altruistic people I've ever met. Joe is a pro's pro who cares about you, cares about your club, cares about your assistants, and cares about growing the game of golf. Joe dedicates a majority of his time, obviously, to his club, the Navy course in Seal Beach. But he dedicates a lot of his personal time to helping those who are less fortunate than us. I got the privilege of getting to know Joe through the Metropolitan chapter. Joe's a wonderful golf professional and a man who truly cares more about others than he does himself. And with that, he's volunteered a lot of time with certain section boards and chapter boards. And now is a good time, for committees, I apologize, now is a good time for Joe to step up and serve the section as a whole and serve on the board of directors. I think that if you have a very difficult choice this morning with the 5 different candidates, but knowing Joe, what he does for the game, what he does for our community, what he does for the people that are around Southern California who are less fortunate than us, I think now is a good time to recognize Joe and support this nomination. So thank you.
The name of Joe Groman has been placed in nomination. Do we have a second? Second. So moved. Joe Groman.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joe Groman. One thing for sure, I'm very proud to be a member of the Southern California section, and I have been the chair of the Disabled Golf Committee since 2009, which basically means I get to have the most fun with my committee. All of the chapters participate in all the clinics that we do and special interest group stuff that we do. So everybody has helped me. All the success that I've had has been a team effort from all the chapters in this section. And from your support, encouragement, we've had, I think, one of the better runs that we've had in the Disabled Golf Committee. Now, I would like to be your eyes and ears on the board and help keep this great section moving in a positive direction. Today, I ask for your vote, and I promise, if elected, you will not be disappointed. Thank you very much.
Our next candidate is Scott Hine. Nominating Scott, Robert Shelton.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Robin Shelton. I'm a PGA board member for your section. I'm also a PGA Master Professional and certified in all 7 of the competencies in the PGA Certified Program. And I also assist with American Golf. I'm a general manager for them and assist with some other recruiting. The reason I share that with you is I've had the opportunity to work and be around some of the finest golf professionals in our section, in our region, and in the country. And one of the best that I've had the chance to interact with and be with is Scott Hine. So this morning, as we talk about Scott Hine, I just want to share 3 short stories with you to give you some insight into his character and his commitment as a golf professional to the PGA. And that's it, just 3 simple short stories about Scott. The first story, I worked for American Golf for 10 years, then I accepted a position with another company which I thought was going to lead to great success, fulfill my professional goals. Then 8 months later, I was laid off and I was unemployed. During that time, I reached out to some of the best golf professionals, GMs that I knew, and just asked them if I could have lunch with them, have a cup of coffee, or just pick their brain a little bit. And Scott not only was kind enough to say yes, but we sat down for lunch. And I don't remember exactly how long it took. But we sat down for lunch, and his staff was setting up and starting dinner service when we left. And he was just that committed to helping somebody who had no benefit to him, just somebody who was unemployed and just wanted to pick their brain. And the amount of knowledge and time he spent with me, I will be forever grateful for. The second story, I mentioned to you that I assist American Golf with some recruiting. Any kind of their positions that open that I'm kind of associated with, I always reach out to Scott and ask him, does he know anybody, any leads for a position? And without fail, every single time, Scott recommends a person or 2, always a PGA member, and many times somebody who he's worked with or currently on his staff. And he's so dedicated to helping our golf professionals become better, advance in their positions. He'll take somebody off of his staff that might make his life a little harder, just so they can advance in their career and be better. So, Scott's not only committed to the golf professionals that in our section, but also the ones that he works with and helping them with their career. And the last short story that I want to share about Scott is I've had the opportunity to obviously be around him, connect with him, talk with him in the boardroom. And he's an incredibly brilliant man. He's been talking about things of player development, adding value, retention programs, utilization rates. And he's been talking about these things for years, way before they've become the norms today, way before they become commonplace. And Scott is far ahead of his time, he's far ahead of our industry. He's a visionary and somebody who I think is a tremendous asset to our organization and to our board. So I hope this morning you'll support Scott Hine for a position on the board of directors for our section. Thank you.
the name of Scott Hine has been placed in nomination. Do we have a second? So moved. Scott Hine.
Good morning, everyone. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to you. Thank you, Robin, for that wonderful introduction, and thank you to whoever found, I think, my high school picture. I come to you today to ask for your support for my quest to continue serving you on your board of directors. I've been elected, I was elected in 2004. I've started to serve pretty much from that moment. For me, I've gotten way more out of it than probably I could ever give back. This has been a wonderful organization. I cherish it. It's something that I really have a passion for. All the men and women in this organization have been just great brothers and sisters and have given me so much that I feel like I want to continue to give back. I've been involved in the apprentice committee, the tournament committee, and then all the way through the Metro board. I even had a short stint down here in San Diego on the board of directors for just a couple days, but then I was moved back to LA. I've really enjoyed the last 2 years as the president of the Metro chapter. One of my responsibilities has been to serve as the chapter representative for the board of directors. I have a tremendous amount of faith in the leadership of this organization right now. I want to thank President Johnson for his 3 years. We are in such a wonderful place right now. We've come so far. I know Mr. McNair and Mr. Kiefer are going to continue that journey, and I want to offer my support to them to continue that journey and make it a little better every day. We've got great leaders. They've got great vision. You know, my basic platform is this. I believe that the PGA, the section, and the board are here to provide services and information, knowledge, events, whatever it is for their members. You know, we've got a lot of money, got a lot of things we can do. But my goal is that we continue to find ways to make the value of your membership better. I never want to hear a member come up to me and say, you know, the PGA doesn't do anything for me. That bothers me. You know, I want to continue to find ways to reach out to each and every one of you. We've got an amazingly diverse group of people now, probably compared to where we were 20, 30 years ago in all different types of industries related to golf. And we need to find ways to be a benefit to every one of you. And that's one of my goals moving forward. So thank you very much for allowing me to be here. I've enjoyed serving you, and I would enjoy the opportunity to continue serving you. Have a great day, everybody.
I have to move that down. Our fourth candidate is Rob Oosterhouse. Nominating Rod is Eric Johnson.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Eric Johnson, and I'm the Director of Golf Operations for JC Resorts right here in San Diego. And I stand before you here today, honored to nominate Rob Oosterhouse to our Southern California Section PGA Board of Directors. Rob is the General Manager at Montecito Country Club. He's married, has 4 children, and has been a PGA member since 2003. For those of you that don't know Rob the way that I do, he has very deep roots in Southern California golf. He was raised in Santa Barbara County and played his junior golf there. His father, Peter, was both a tour player and a PGA member and served as director of golf at Riviera Country Club, while Rob played his college golf right down the street at UCLA. After graduation, Rob began his career as an instructor and worked at the Hank Haney Golf Ranch, and also served as head golf professional at the Four Seasons TPC Las Colinas before his career took him across America and all over the world. However, his heart was always here with us in Southern California. I had the privilege of working for Rob when he joined our company back in 2006. As I think anybody that's had the pleasure of working with him will tell you, he's a leader. He's honest, objective, thoughtful, and fair. Because Rob has managed so many different kinds of facilities, including public, municipal, resort, private, obviously served as an instructor for many years, he's uniquely qualified to relate to all of us in this room. I would say that Rob is the consummate modern golf professional. He's versatile, adaptable, business-oriented, and forward-thinking. These traits, combined with his passion for the PGA, would help ensure that our section continues to be recognized as one of the most successful in the country. We are in the midst of very challenging times in our industry, as we all are aware. And I believe that Rob can be a positive influence for us to navigate the obstacles ahead. I'm very proud to place in a nomination for the seat of the Southern California Section PGA Board of Directors, Mr. Rob Oosterhuis.
The name of Rob Oosterhuis has been placed in nomination. Do we have a second? Second. So moved. Rob Oosterhuis.
Eric, thank you for the kind words, and thank you to the board and all the golf professionals in here today. I stand here extremely humble, accepting the nomination and asking for your vote. And it makes me think back to when I started thinking about running for the board. What was it that was motivating me to come here today and serve all of you and serve on the board? And it really came down to a couple of things that came pretty quickly, and it's the love of the game and it's the legacy of golf. For me, the love has to do with all that it gave me in terms of high school and college and now work and what opportunities it's given me and my family. The legacy of my family, Eric mentioned, my father's work within the PGA as well, and my aunt who helped found the European Tour in its early years. And then it got me thinking, what is my legacy? What is my legacy right now? What can it be? What will it be? What am I doing to grow the game? What am I doing for others? And I think probably like most of it, I'm doing things, but it's not enough, and I want to do more. I need to do more. And there are a lot of questions, and I want to make sure we don't look at them as obstacles or challenges, but opportunities. Beyond just getting people the game and growing the game, how are we engaging with the youth? How are we engaging and drawing in families? How are we connecting with females? How are we battling and diminishing and trying to eliminate some of the negative stigmas that sometimes go along with golf and all that surrounds? But again, these are just a few of the questions. There's a lot of things that we need to address, and I think as we look ahead, the PGA has to be going ahead and moving ahead. It has to be in motion. It has to be innovative. It has to be creative. We're approaching our organization's centennial coming up soon, and we don't want to be left behind. We need to keep moving and progressing. And I think what I want to do is I want to motivate each of you. I want to motivate you to take calculated risks, to take on new challenges. It's easy in a game that's filled with so much tradition and history that we do what we've always done. That's always been the way it's done. It becomes easy to do that. But seldom on the road to any kind of prosperity is there an easy route. It's typically a hard road to hoe, and I think, again, these are things we need to challenge as golf professionals. I want to make sure we're taking the programs we've had that our board has put in place and enhance them and innovate them and make sure the support systems are there for you so that you can leave your legacy on the game. Whatever legacy that is that you want to leave. I want to make sure you all have the tools, whether it's online education, whether it's classroom education, field education, whether it's ad hoc committees, some of the standing committees, or even just structured brainstorming sessions. These are just some of the resources that I think we should look at and continue to enhance and push ahead to keep the game growing. Again, I want to ask for your vote today because I feel like as a member of the board, with the board of directors that are in place today, with your support, that not only can we take our love of the game and progress that, but we can continue the legacy of the PGA and grow it. Thank you very much.
Our final candidate is Brett Wyckoff. Nominating Brett, Joe DeBach.
Good morning. My name is Joe DeBach. I've been the head professional at Torrey Pines for almost 25 years. In fact, a lot of people have worked for me in this room, and I have some fine assistants over the years that have done very well, and really appreciate the fact of being a PGA member. Makes me feel real proud to put the nomination in for Brett Wyckoff as your section board of directors. Brett's case is a little different than the norm. He's been with me at Torrey Pines for 8 or 9 years. He's a go-getter in the business. You probably haven't seen his name too much, but he has fresh ideas. He comes from the aerospace industry. very cutting-edge, forward-thinking technology, and it gives me great pleasure to place him in the nomination or want to get involved. I know he will be a section board of director someday, and hopefully you'll consider him on his vote today. I think you appreciate some of his fresh ideas. It's hard to hold him down at Torrey Pines. He teaches for me now full-time, and yeah, I just think if you want some fresh ideas on the board, something out of the box that's different, and I think he has some great ideas, and it's my pleasure to place Brett in the nomination for the board of directors, and please consider him when you're voting today. Thank you very much.
The name of Brett Wyckoff has been placed in nomination. Do we have a second? Brett Wyckoff.
Like I said, I'm in front of a lot of distinguished running mates here today, and I learned a lot more about them than I did before, which is nice. I was recently elected into membership in June of 2014, so I am definitely a new member. I remember when I went to my first my orientation meeting as a member, and I asked Nikki Gass, I said, Nikki, I said, I got one problem. She goes, what's that? And I said, I want to do it all. And Nikki gave me some really good advice. She said, grab 2 things and do those, and grab 2 more and do those, and go on and on and on. So my only drawback is I love to do everything. And I know time's always an issue for everybody, but I know we have a great group here. So the day that meeting happened, I went home that day and took sticky notes and started putting them up on the wall. Brainstorm this, brainstorm that. I pulled a couple of things off and I said, these are a few things I want to do. I want to be a section board member. I want to make a change in our programs. So as I started putting these up here, I probably had 100 ideas of things we want to do. And a lot of these things I started looking at, a lot of programs that we currently have. So that's another thing I started looking at also. I know there's nothing that one of us cannot accomplish, especially with the group we have here. So I want to take that and take off with it and make a good run for it in the next coming years. I am also feeling very lucky to be in one of the strongest sections in the PGA. And I see that in everybody I deal with every day, the people that I work with, the people that I get to start playing in tournaments with. I'm lucky enough to be 50 years old and get to play in both senior and regular PGA events now. And I know there's people in this room that no matter how much I studied and how much I tried, I could never learn as much of the knowledge that we have just sitting in this room today. So I'm going to definitely pick a lot of your brains to figure out how to make things better for all of us. I do think my experience in the aerospace industry is going to be helpful. I did lead a lot of people, hundreds of people in the different programs, Six Sigma, product development. And I think with the people here today that we put our ideas together, we can take off those programs we have and make them grow, the ones that maybe become stagnant, maybe switch gears and take off with some more ideas. To get better growth in our game, I know we're all working on that, but we've got to actually make a difference in it. So I've been inspired by a lot of people in my life. And some of the biggest ones in recent were my stay at the San Diego Golf Academy. Buddy Allen, who's now passed. A lot of you may have played golf with him who were on the PGA Tour. I know we have some members here that were. And Buddy taught me more about the game of golf than I think a person could probably learn in a lifetime of studying a book. And I miss the guy a lot. He's very, very important to me. In my stay at Torrey Pines, I've learned a lot from a lot of people. Joe DeBach has taught me, never forget where you came from, and always try to give the best lesson that person's ever seen before. And even though my employees I work with, my friends, my cohorts, they may not know they inspire me, but they do every day. They help me become a better person, and always reach to be the best I can be. Overall, we need some programs to give ideas to our students, to the population, to bring the game back, to bring families back to the game, because without bringing families to the game, I don't think we're really going to grow it. We're not going to grow it one individual at a time. So let's get some organizations, corporations, let's bring our money base up as a bottom line game. We all know that. So I appreciate everybody letting me come up here and talk today, and I look forward to serving you on the board. Thank you very much.
I would now move that the nominations be closed. Is there a second? So moved. Thank you. All right, please take out your ballots. Again, fill them out completely. You are voting for 2 members only. Okay, 2 check marks. Sign your name, print your name, and please put your PJ number at the bottom. When you are done voting, filling out your ballot, please fold it in half, pass them down to the end of each aisle, and we have staff and monitors, past presidents, that will be picking them up and tabulating the votes as we continue with the business part of the meeting. Again, is there anyone who is eligible to vote that does not have a ballot? You don't have it? Okay, can you go to the check-in table, John? Okay, please remain in your seats. We will continue the business meeting. Again, raise your hand if you don't have a ballot. Fold them in half, pass them down. Are there any more ballots that have not been collected? Raise your hand, please, if so. Mr. President, that concludes the nomination part of the election. We'll be back to you later with results.
Thanks, Bill, and thanks to the past presidents for this annual tradition of collecting and counting. It occurs to me that we're moving in a very positive direction in this section, and it occurs to me that it's because of all of you and your enthusiasm, and we're committed really to serving the member and growing the game. And with that, I'd like to make an introduction now and let you know how fortunate we are to have the next president of the PGA of America in the room, Mr. Paul Levy. Paul?
We're going to call an audible here because I think we had a deal you didn't know about. He's going first. So I'm going to introduce Bill Herbert, your district director. Bill represents this section well and the district well. And of course, I've known Bill for about 20 years. We were both section presidents when I was in Southern Texas in the late 90s. But he is an excellent board of director. You know, Bill's the kind of guy in the boardroom who's not scared to speak up. He definitely tells you what he thinks, and he represents you well. So Bill, why don't you come up and share some of the things we're doing at National, and I'll back clean up.
Thank you, Paul. You know, it's an honor to serve on your behalf. As District 11 Director, I have one more year on my term. I'm going to quickly go through some things because we are time sensitive here. But as Jeff just said, you know, the goal of the PGA, and the PGA is striving so hard, particularly with new leadership, to serve the member and grow the game. That is the primary focus of our strategic plan, which Paul will speak to in a moment. I just want to highlight some things that are going on with the association, some things that have happened in the past year, some things that will benefit you, the member. The first is a long-term digital strategy. Starting in January, what you now know as PJ Links will become pj.org. And we are spending over $1 million to completely revamp PJ Links, make it pga.org, make it user-friendly, make it have assets and benefits that you as a PGA member can use to both better yourself and to grow your business. We are starting in 2014 some national PGA junior camps. Our board just recently voted to take the recommendation of the Youth Player Development Committee to launch 16 branded golf camps in 2015, serving an estimated 872 junior golfers, and projected to increase that to 43 camps and over 3,000 golfers by 2017. We signed a 3-year deal with H5 Sports Group, which is very experienced in the area. The PGA will develop all the curriculum and they will administer the signups and everything else to make this a success. As mentioned, 2016 is the 100-year anniversary of the formation of the PGA of America. There are plans to start a 100-day celebration at the 2016 PGA Merchandise Show. Each section will be honored and recognized on Golf Channel moving forward. The 2016 PGA annual meeting is in New York. If there's any possible way that you as an individual can attend that annual meeting, I would urge you to do so. We've had some tremendous, what is called wins by Pete Vacqua, our CEO, relative to, again, strategic plan. The NBC Sports Agreement that we signed has basically secured the financial future of the PGA going forward. The Samsung partnership, also a big deal that again benefits us and benefits the association, but also benefits the member by the availability and the price reduction for you to purchase Samsung products. The Omega renewal, an 8-year deal, which is the longest ever by a PGA patron partner, which has had some direct benefits, the first of which is the reduction in cost because they become a sponsor of the National Teaching and Coaching Summit, which I'll speak to in a moment. The KPMG Women's PGA Championship, which is a big, big deal. It's now, one of the LPGA majors, which, we basically own and operate in conjunction with the LPGA. The expansion and the growing of the relationship with the Tour. The fact that the 2020 PGA Championship is coming to the West Coast, to TPC Harding Park. That's something that was identified some time ago in the strategic plan that we needed to do. We needed to have a presence with our majors on the West Coast. And then the Trump Organization partnership. The 2022 PGA Championship will be at Trump National Golf Club in Bedminster, and the 2017 Senior PGA Championship will be at Trump National Golf Club in DC. The PGA Championship this year at Valhalla was a huge success. Tickets were sold out for championship rounds. TV ratings were the highest in 5 years. Obviously a great finish. A little controversy was finishing in the dark, but it basically had to be done that way. It was in the best interest of the tournament. So as a consequence, or actually before that, Rory McIlroy was named PGA Junior League Golf Ambassador days before winning his second PGA Championship in 3 years. And that's another huge success story is PGA Junior League, which is just growing in leaps and bounds, and it's just a great way to get kids involved and to grow the game. The Ryder Cup, I'll just touch on briefly. Paul and I were there. We all know what happened. We all know what's going to happen going forward, and Paul will speak to that in his report. And then finally, I just wanted to speak to a couple things. Again, the Teaching Summit is January 18th and 19th. It's a Sunday and Monday prior to the merchandise show. Tuesday is demo day, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is a show. If you're going to the show, if you're an instructor, you need to go to this summit. Because of the Omega deal, the price has been reduced to $375. Here's just a partial list of speakers that will be at this year's summit. Butch Harmon, Chuck Cook, David Ledbetter, Jim Hardy, Sean Foley, Chris Como. Greg Norman will speak, Jason Dufner will speak, Damon Hack from Golf Channel will be there, Kelly Stinzel, Gail Peterson, Krista Dunton. There will be live lessons this year. There will be an opportunity to text questions to the presenters as you're sitting in the audience. You'll get 16 MSR credits, which some of you that may be an issue. But it's going to be, I think, one of the finest that we have ever done. So I would heartily encourage you to attend, and I would encourage you to sign up early because I think it will fill up even though we have capacity for roughly 1,500 attendees. The other thing I wanted to speak about is the election of Susie Whaley as Secretary of the PGA. Susie, I spent 3 years in the boardroom with Susie during her term, 1 as an incoming for myself and 2 as an official board member. Susie is really good. She won this election, my personal opinion, because she was the best candidate, not because she was a woman and that would have an impact. But coincidentally, she is a woman, and that's a game changer for our association going forward. I think she's going to be an excellent officer. I think she's going to be a terrific president. I think she's going to bring so much to the association in so many ways that it's a huge positive that she was elected secretary. And in conjunction with that election, Derek Sprague was elected and moved up to president, and our own Paul Levy was elected vice president, and therefore, as Jeff has been saying, I give you the next president of the PGA of America, Mr. Paul Levy.
Good morning. First of all, I'd be remiss if I didn't congratulate some of these folks to my left. Jeff, great job the last 3 years. Jeff was one of the first people I met when I moved here 10 years ago. I've had the pleasure, I think I spent 4 or 5 years on the board in the boardroom with you, and you've really done a great job taking the section to where we are today. So, to John, I know you're going to be a great president. You're a good friend, golf professional of the year. Great to see your dad here last night, so really a great evening. All right, I've got about 10 minutes, Jeff tells me, to put about 25 minutes of information into a 10-minute spiel, but for those who know me, I usually talk fast, so if I say something you don't understand, raise your hand. And I am going to leave a couple minutes for a couple questions at the end, but first of all, I'd like to talk about our annual meeting. We went to Indianapolis 2 weeks ago, and our theme was driving forward. What we wanted to do is really send a message that there's one direction in life, and that's forward, and that's where this game needs to go. And that's where we're focused as your leaders, as an association, taking the game and taking the PGA of America. As we went into the week, we had some interesting speakers. I think the first thing that I have to share with you is you need to go to PGA Links and check out the Arnold Palmer presentation. The Deacon Palmer Award was created. It was something that the 3 officers talked about a year ago, brought to the board of directors and discussed, and the first Deacon Palmer Award was given posthumously to Deacon Palmer via Arnold Palmer at our annual meeting. Arnold came to the podium with tears in his eyes. I think he had tears in his eyes the whole time. One of the most emotional moments I've seen ever at any of our annual meetings, but it is worth seeing. Also, as I talk about the long-range plan, you can also go to PGA Links and see the video. I'm going to give you a few highlights of that plan, but it is worth going if you want more information to go to PGA Links and click on the tab from the annual meeting. It's a presentation by Pete Bavacqua, my fellow officer Derek Sprague, Daryl Kroll, Kerry Hagan, myself, and I think it gives you a good overview about what our long-range plan is. Another thing that we had at the annual meeting, of course, was the election. As my good friend Bill said, and I can tell you, Susie was the best candidate in my opinion. Usually, the delegation always picks the best candidate. I know that when I lost in 2010, I went home and you kind of see, gee, what did I do? How did I lose? When? And I was elected in 2012, and there's no doubt in my mind as I stand here today that there was a plan for me to win at that time. And the right person usually wins at the time that they win. And I look forward to serving with Susie. She's a great player, great teacher, a great communicator. She's going to be a great ambassador for the game. And yes, I know that she didn't win because she's a woman, but you said it well. It's a game changer for this industry and for this association and taking us forward. This week, I'll be heading to West Palm Beach for our officer planning week for the week. We also have our property advisory committee meeting tomorrow, and coming up in the near future, we have the Ryder Cup Task Force meeting, which I'll talk about. Some of the things that we're going to do this week, and this is a week we do every year to get together before the board planning session in February to just talk about what do we need to do. Some of the things that we're going to be focused on this week are talking about the Ryder Cup. Where do we go forward with the task force? And of course, we all know it's the most valuable asset for the association. We've been working for about a year on policies. When I got elected in 2012, Derek and myself started looking into how do we organize the policies for the board, for the officers, for the past president, travel expense accounts. Many of these policies were 10, 15, 20 years old. Sometimes it was just a memo. So we've been working to put them in one place in a spirit of accountability and transparency. It's something that I can tell you Derek, myself, Pete Bavacco, Darrell Kroll, the board of directors all believe in. And there is nothing that anyone who gets elected to a position, whether it's my position as an officer, a board of director, any past president, there's nothing that they should get as a benefit that shouldn't be very transparent for our board of directors. One of the important things we're going to discuss is we're going to discuss employment education in the Workforce Task Force. I've had the pleasure to co-chair the Workforce Task Force with Darrell Kroll this past year. Tom Addis sits on it. The major committee chairs for the last 2 years, really analyzing where are we going with the association. Where are we going as to what the market needs to have the PGA member be skilled with. We are going to commission a RFP to study the PGM universities, the 19 PGM universities. We want to study, do we have the universities in the right locations? Do we need more? Do we need less? 45% of all PGA members coming out today becoming a PGA member are coming from those universities. We need to do a better job of communicating with the universities. They're producing almost half of our young members, and also the universities we see as a valuable partner. We need to treat them much like we would treat a section. We're also studying employment. I know that Pete Bavacco and Darrell Kroll and myself have been to New York City a couple times talking to some groups there that are specialized in headhunting, employment arena, positioning to put people in place, and working with Ken Farrell and our 12 consultants. How can we empower that part of what we do? What's more important than employment? I'd like to see maybe in 2 to 4 years that we have 20 or 25 people employed in the employment division or career services division of the PGA of America. How can we be a better resource for the professional? How can we have people who maybe actually we go out and create an internal headhunting division of career services? Some people like that, some don't. One of the things Kenny and the consultants have been working on this year is doing a lot more with the Platinum Search, where we go to a club and actually help them get a shorter list, help them get a little more information on the candidates versus just giving the computer a list of names that would be produced based on the criteria selected. So that's another thing that we're focused on. Our long-range plan, just to give you some bullet points on that, is something that we have tried to keep the last 2 years, every decision in mind. We try to say, does it benefit our membership? Does it help them make a better living? And does it grow the game? So that's something that we are looking at with our long-range plan. In the last 40 years, there's really been 3 or 4 long-range plans. And a lot of them have been static in that, for example, one we had 10 or 15 years ago, we said we need to have 10,000 PGA directors of golf or general managers. We've had a statistic in growing the game where we needed to hopefully set a goal of getting to 40 million golfers, which we know at 24 or 5 million a day, 27 million, whatever number you want to use, that's probably a little unrealistic today. So as we put this plan together, the board of directors, the officers, the senior executive team went back and forth several times to work on it the past year and present it at the annual meeting. It's something that we thought needed to be dynamic and breathing. Something that didn't pin us down. Something that didn't have a threshold that stated failure at some point. And something that we keep and go forward. So it's not going to be the plan of 2001 or 2000 in San Antonio or the Booz Allen report from 1987. It's going to be the PGA of America long-range plan that changes every year with the dynamics of the industry. And it's something that we're going to go by. The 3 pillars that we see that are important to that plan are constant pursuit of excellence and commitment to innovation and collaboration, teamwork and talent that define our culture and exhibit it in our communications, accountability, honesty, trust, and impact, and our commitment to diversity and inclusion. So that permeates throughout every aspect of what we do that resonates throughout the PGA of America, its programs and practices. The 8 core products that we focus on in the plan are employment, education, player development, championships, sections, PGA Reach, properties, and kind of our global initiatives. Again, go to the PGA links to learn more about the plan, but it's something that you're going to hear us more and more talk about and continue to relate to as to give us a blueprint as we move forward and what we're going to do. Before I ask for a couple questions, I would like to close and just share a couple things. First of all, Michael Block, I got to see you win our PNC at Myrtle Beach. Congratulations. You've represented us well since then. You're a real guy, and I very much appreciate your representation of not just this section, but of the national body, being the best player in the country last year. So congratulations again. One of the other things I will share is as we finish up this week, we're going to be putting the last touches on our committees, our national committees. One of the focuses that Derek Sprague and myself, and now with Susie have, is how do we get more people involved in the committees that really have a voice, that really get to meet, that really come together. One of the challenges with committees is getting everyone together, getting them FaceTime, not just on the phone calls. So we're going to probably have a little less numbers on each committee, 7, 8, 9 people with a member of staff. Those committees will be announced shortly. I do anticipate 4 or 5 members of the Southern California section being on those committees, some of our leaders. So I think this section will be well represented through the committee system. And those committees are very important to the board of directors. A lot of things that come up in the boardroom, the board members want to know if the committee's vetted that. And so that relationship is very important. The last thing I'll say is that for the last 2 years, it's been a pleasure to be the secretary for the PGA of America. A lot of people say, how is it? Have you enjoyed it? Things come up that you could have never dreamed of. There are things you get to do that are just the coolest things in the world. There are some days, as I tell my wife, you go to bed and you think about the challenges you're dealing with, and you go, where could you have ever dreamed that? But when it's all said and done, people say, you know, is it worth it? Are you enjoying it? If you love the game of golf, I know that's me. I'm 54 years old, started playing when I was 12. Got in this business because I love playing golf. I love being around golf. I love being at golf courses. I love being with all my friends who are in the golf business. There's no way you couldn't enjoy doing this job. So I appreciate the support of this section, giving me the opportunity, our board, to support me as a national officer and as I go through the chairs the next 4 years. So with that said, are there any questions? Anyone have anything you'd like me to address for you? You guys are going to be easy? Yes, sir.
Hey, Paul. Just in regard to the Ryder Cup, I was just thinking. It's gone from some friendly competition to it's a pretty big event nowadays. But when you came out after this last one and we talked about a task force, and there was a lot of joking about that. You know, what's your feeling with that? Do you guys talk at all about maybe we're going too far?
We do.
In a direction, and just take these guys out for a couple beers and lighten up a little bit.
You know, it's a great question. I'm glad you asked that. I'll give you a little insight on the Ryder Cup Task Force. First of all, as we came back from Scotland this year, there's no doubt that everyone was disappointed. You know, Captain Watson and the team, obviously there were some unfortunate things that happened at the end with Phil's press conference. And you can spin it any way. I'm not going to stand here and give you my spin. You know, I've learned in life that everyone has an opinion. You know, I personally thought the New Orleans Saints were going to win the Super Bowl, but we've lost now. I think we're 5-8, and we're probably not going anywhere but the Tidy Bowl this year. So I don't think we're going to the Super Bowl. So I know everyone has a different point of view, and when it comes to the task force, it's been very much written about. What happened is, as we came forward, we said, look, there is no true plan. There's no written plan as to how you pick a captain. There's no written plan for a lot of things in the Ryder Cup. Kerry Hay does a heck of a job putting on championships, as we do with our PNC, the PGA Championship, and the Ryder Cup. But we thought that it's about time that we go to the players and try to get some ownership from the players. Give them a chance to have a platform, an official platform or forum to give some input as to what they think we should be doing going forward. Remember, the PGA of America owns the Ryder Cup, and it produces the largest amount of revenue that one event or thing or happening does in this association. So To keep that asset valuable and to keep it viable is a major focus of leadership in the executive team. Some of the things that we see happening in this first meeting, and we've been planning for it for about 5 or 6 weeks. Whether it's right or wrong to do it, I won't address that. But the things that we hope to come out of it is ask each one of the people in the task force, the 5 players and the 3 past captains, what do you think are the 3 most important things? We know we're going to address the points list. We know that the PGA Championship ends in July in 2016, and that probably ending the points then 2 months before the Ryder Cup won't produce the best, most current players. We know that we need to discuss a system of captain and vice captain viability and continuity. One of the scary things for the players, if you look at the PGA of America, it's kind of like one of the things that's scary for staff. We change every 2 years. You're gone. Bye. Here's John. 2 years, it's Todd. And my good friend Tony here, who, if we do, I guess, substantiate your position as the new secretary today, Tony, of course, worked for us at Toscana for 10 years. And then John will be gone. So what happens in the Ryder Cup? They see this PGA of America Volunteer Association leadership dynamically changing every 2 years, and they're looking for some continuity. So what we think is this forum is going to be able to give everyone a chance to speak their mind, put it out there, get some ownership, create a system where maybe vice captains become captains. Maybe we develop those vice captains so they understand the Ryder Cup. Steve Stricker was telling me at the Ryder Cup this year, he says, hey, if I was the captain next year, I'd had no clue. I mean, him coming in as vice captain this year helped him a lot. But if you're a vice captain for 1 or 2 Ryder Cups and become a captain, how could that hurt us? I'm not saying that's what's going to come out of it. But that's the things that we're looking to do. Also, there's a lot of minor details, things that some of the players have commented on, like uniforms and commitments and things of that nature. But the big picture is we don't intend to give up control of the Ryder Cup. We don't intend to tell the players they can pick the captain. But much like this delegation can speak up to its board of directors, and the board of directors are elected to vote and represent you, we want the players to know that we want to hear what you think. We want to hear what you think is important. We don't want it to be kind of, as we say here, top down. We want it to be grassroots up. And how can we build a relationship to win 8 of the next 10 Ryder Cups? It's not about winning in 2016. And it's not about picking this captain. Any other questions? Well, I appreciate it. If I can help anyone, please contact me at Toscana. And Jeffrey, I'll give you the mic back.
Paul, thanks. It's a treat to have you in our neighborhood, especially sharing the position that you do. Let's welcome Odie Vincent. Odie is the chairman of the Northern Trust Open, please.
Thank you. I'll make this quick because I know there's a lot you all have to cover today. So again, my name is Odie Vincent. I'm the executive director of the Northern Trust Open. Want to congratulate everybody here on a great year last year, and also thank you for your time. So tough act to follow, that's for sure. But I want to talk to you about a program that is called Play Golf LA. And I don't know if you've gotten that information. I think you have, or you've opened it, or I spoke at a chapter meeting already on this. But I wanted to come down and just spend about 5 minutes and tell you about an opportunity that I think is phenomenal for this PGA section. Play Golf LA, and again, I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm here to offer you something that ideally will help raise money for your foundation, and ideally give you a vehicle to promote golf at your facility. Simple math. I like to keep it simple because as golfers, we don't want to add anything above 5 on any hole, that's for sure. But simple math is, at every one of your facilities, if you sold 20 tickets to the Northern Trust Open, you would raise as a section $350,000 for your foundation. It's through our Tickets for Charity program through the PGA Tour. And out of this, I want to tell you, the PGA Tour and the Northern Trust Open receives $0 off of all these tickets that are sold. We give you the tickets, you sell them, you keep 80% of the revenue. The City of Hope, which is our official charity for the Northern Trust Open, keeps 20% of the revenue. What we get out of it, and our motivation, is we want to help you raise money for your foundation. Obviously, one of the big missions of the PGA Tour is giving back to the community. As you know, over $2 billion has been raised since the inception. And our event that I'm the proud steward of currently has raised over $58 million for the communities in the Los Angeles community and charities there. So I'm here just to introduce this to you. Again, I'm not here to sell you. I'm just asking you to take a look at it. I want to thank the board of directors. I want to thank my friend Eric Lohman, who has been a great driver of this. I want to thank Tom and the office staff. My father, Orrin, has been a PGA member for 45 years. I grew up in the game. I looked up to you all when I was growing up, and you were my heroes growing up, and babysat me probably half the day and taught me the game, and I really appreciate that. And when I got this job, I wanted to find a way to take the PGA section in the PGA Tour, and I wanted to find the two biggest entities in our game in this area and find a way to fuse them together and find a way that was an upward lift for both of us. What we get out of it is we get the recognition of the fact that we're in town. At your club, we want people in whether you're at a private club, whether you're at a public facility, a resort facility, doesn't matter. We want people talking about Bubba Watson coming in to defend his title. We want people talking about the best players in the world in town. We want people talking about the over $2 million we gave back to charity last year. And so these tickets are there for you. This is an opportunity that I'm encouraging you to take a look at, and ideally it will fit at your club. I'll tell you, you don't even have to have an event to make this happen. Todd Yoshitake, he doesn't have a golf course, as you know, before the event because we have it. And so Todd is so motivated, he's thinking of creative ways to sell as many tickets as possible to the members of Riviera. And he's very aggressively looking at being the top club, so that's a challenge to everyone else here. The top club does receive a Pro-Am threesome on the Wednesday of the Northern Trust Open for 3 of your members, depending on the type of facility you have, for you to choose. But again, we want to take this to the very top. We want to create an activation that is second to none in America with the PGA Tour and a PGA section, and this is the way we'd like to drive it. If anybody has any questions, I'll take them. If not, I will get off the stage and let your day get moving forward. I'm going to hit the road. Thanks for the time. Appreciate it.
Odie, thank you. I would want you to know that your section is enthusiastic about this program. It has got the potential to do some remarkable things for our foundation so that we might award more scholarships and more grants for junior golfers to play in our events. And I implore you to take this seriously. It's a wonderful thing. I'd like to introduce the chairman of our Special Awards Committee, David Foster. David is going to review last night's beautiful evening and our award winners.
Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate it very much. And I think a lot of you were at the President's Dinner last night. It was a great, great time to honor our award winners this year, some great people. What I'm going to do is we're going to start off with a very short video. Our section is very proud to receive a national award, the Herb Krappus Award. We're going to watch a short video before I name the winners today.
Professionals of the Southern California section go out into their communities to bring new golfers into the game.
The whole idea behind neighborhood golf is the name, to bring golf into the neighborhoods around Southern California. This year we'll reach over 2 million people, at least being on site where these 2 million people are. And we'll give 25,000 individual golf lessons at these sites.
We're going out pretty much every weekend. We're going to events in baseball games, soccer games, community festivals.
Neighborhood golf is a way for the pros to be involved and for our facilities to come out and introduce ourselves to people and be a part of something in communities like soccer and maybe NASCAR. Different ways to bring golf to them that maybe they'd never expect.
having golf, where it isn't always something that kids in our neighborhood have opportunities to play, and exposing them to a new sport is rewarding because the kids really like the experience.
While neighborhood golf targets all ages, golf in schools focuses on the next generation of players.
We're in elementary schools and middle schools as well, and we're making inroads in bringing those programs to kids. And I think it's important if we're going to develop players to create a culture of golf, and schools are the ideal place to do that.
We always ask that a PGA member or apprentice is a head coach, as we call them, that they're leading the instruction.
Along with pointing the way to Start for Kids, the Southern California section members help give veterans a fresh start.
The wounded warriors, you know, I've had guys come up to me and said, you know what, I was going to kill myself today. And I went to your class, and I'm so glad I did. You know, a month or two later, they're golf addicts, and they're just so excited. It's just completely changed the course of their life, this crazy game.
Our PGA professionals are extremely passionate. The passion of golf, the addiction of golf, they want to share with others.
Through a comprehensive approach to player development, the Southern California section has earned the 2014 Herb Gratis Award.
We have so many programs. We really have, you know, we wanted to create programs for everyone, whether that's a junior, whether that's an adult who's never been exposed to the game, which is what neighborhood golf does, people with special needs, people with disabilities, our Wounded Warrior program, all of these things. We really just want to stress the fact that golf is a game for everyone, and that there's a program or an event or an opportunity for everyone to play this game.
Wow, what a great award, very impressive. If you ever think that our section doesn't reach out and touch people, look at that, the National awarded us this year, and that's quite an award. At this time I am... Last night, all of our award winners had an opportunity to speak and accept their awards. Today, I'm just going to list them all off. I ask that you do please hold your applause to the end. And if you're here today, please stand when I call your name. Our Hall of Fame winner this year is Jimmy Powell. Our honorary life members go to Greg McAtten, Monty Blodgett, who recently passed away, Pete Coe, Steve Harrell, Jerry Hollingsworth. Our Teacher of the Year went to Larry Brotherton. Our Bill Strasbaugh Award went to Susan Roll. Our Horton Smith Award went to Robin Shelton. John Mason is the Youth Player Development Award winner this year. Our Assistant Golf Professional of the Year went to Grant Strobel. Our Club Fitter of the Year went to Monica Stratton. Our Merchandiser of the Year for Privates is Rick Stiegel. Our Merchandiser of the Year for Results went to Mark Greenslip. Our Merchandiser of the Year for Publix went to Joe Groman. A round of applause for all of them. Also at this time, and the same thing will hold our applause, I want to recognize our Players of the Year in each of the categories. Our AAA Player of the Year went to Kenny Pigman. Our Super Senior Player of the Year went to Jim Petrolia. He kept us in some good stitches last night. Our Mid-Senior Player went to John Fiedler. And our Senior Player of the Year went to Tim Parham. Our Women's Player of the Year is Petra Cole. And then, of course, everybody knows what Michael Block did this year. He is our Player of the Year for the Southern California PGA. A round of applause for each of them. Good job. I also want to recognize our 2015 President's Award winners, and they are Bob Coomer. Bob, I know you're out here, and Greg Frederick. A round of applause for the two of them. And last, our Golf Professional of the Year went to John McNair. I don't think, John, you're going to speak, correct? But we do have a video to see, and a definite worthy award winner. And thank you to all of them. So we're going to see a little video now on John McNair.
Initially, I wanted to say, wow, congratulations, the Association's highest honor, Golf Professional of the Year, and to you. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Jeff. It's a very humbling honor and just what a privilege, and I'm just so thankful.
And simultaneously, tomorrow morning, you'll become the president of the Southern California section of the PGA of America. So it's a double whammy, and we couldn't be more pleased, more proud. You have been such an inspiration, and the board will no doubt cite it. And I'm going to say on behalf of all the members of the premises, we're looking forward to your leadership.
Thank you very much.
One of the things that struck me is you and I spent a lot of time together. We're in hotels, we're in different cities, we're in boardrooms. And we've just returned from Indiana in the association's annual meeting, and we witnessed something that was so unbelievably poignant. A tribute to Deacon Palmer, Arnold's father. And Arnold was there to receive the award. And it was as emotional and lovely as anything I think I've ever experienced. And it made me think about your dad, Illinois Golf Professional of the Year, section president, 38 years of PGA member, and a hero to you. Talk a little bit about that influence.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, first of all, I was in the dryer and in the house there. It was one of the greatest speeches in golf I've ever seen, but also just the greatest speech I've ever seen. It was just amazing and just very touching about his father and the relationship, how golf drew them together. Also, you know, how tough he was on Arnold and making sure he did everything right. I thought that was apropos as well for a father-son in the golf business. But it was so touching. My father, as you mentioned, been golf professional of the year and past president of the Illinois section. And the same club for 38 years. It was very similar to how Deacon Palmer and Arnold, they grew up at the maintenance facility. Their corporate house was right over there. That was the same thing with our house we grew up. It was right at the maintenance facility. So in the early mornings, we wake up to Cushman's backfiring things in the morning. It's 4:30 in the morning. So it was in a lot of ways, it was really, really neat to watch that, and just it was very special. So very touching to me too with the father-son relationship.
I mean, it just seemed to me watching all of that there was such a connection that you must have felt watching that take place. And again, it was just an extraordinary moment to see Arnold there. And the backfiring of Cushman's and the sound of metal spikes on concrete and all those noises that are so much a part of the golf games. Beautiful memories. You know, to do what you do and to lead us the way you have, it requires a great deal of time and an awful lot of energy. And some of us are very lucky to work for individuals and companies that afford us the opportunity to conduct our volunteers and the business of the PGA. JC Resorts is such a family.
Yeah, well, they've been great for it. And I think the biggest part of the ownership group being spoiled, but more important is all the general managers and golf professional team that we have at JC Resorts being supportive of it, helping out where needed to make sure that we can do what we can at the section level as well. So it's been a complete team effort at JC Resorts to make that happen. And also my wife, Doris, who for giving up time to relaxing on the couch with her, I'm working away on my laptop on the couch instead. So she's been great as well for giving up time away for me to allow me to do sexual duties.
You know, and there always is, in addition to our employers, our significant others that make our life easier. And Doris is lovely in that regard, and just a sweetheart. And exciting to say this out loud, there's going to be a little McNair here in the spring.
Yes, my Doris is pregnant, so we're it's the date is April 10th. So our first one, so we're very excited.
Well, this is a privilege.
Thank you, Jeff.
And indeed an honor to be able to welcome you and to say congratulations.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
One last thing, my grandchildren would tell me that, Papa, you made another senior moment. I did forget to announce one other award, and it is John McNair again. He won our Player Development Award. So thank you very much, Mr. President. Back to you.
David, thank you. One of the nice things that I get to do, we have 25 committees in the section, and as the president, was able to appoint the chairs to all those committees. And I'd like to take a moment to thank every one of them, many of you in this room today. But listening to you, David, and all the work you did to make special awards ring true this year just reminds me of how collectively all of those committee chairs and all of the people that serve on those committees, Susan, yours on about 9 of them, really make a difference for all of us. And I'd like the committees to get a round of applause. We have our Honors Cup matches this coming week at the Indian Wells Country Club. We're going to be honoring the great Tom Barber with our 10 best players. I'm lucky and privileged to serve as the captain, and my co-captains Skip Whitted are going to meet with the team on Saturday, and the matches will take place on Sunday and Monday. The SCGA, who we compete with their 10 best players, have chosen Jim Vernon, past president of the United States Golf Association, as their honoree. And Kevin, you're in the audience today, and I just want to thank you for this spirited competition that is in its 5th edition. I won't tell you necessarily what the standings are, but the golf professionals have not been as successful as one might hope. They've lost all 4 years, and we're committed in this 5th year to give it our best shot. So Kevin, thank you for being here, and Craig, thank you for being here. And I don't know if Pat's in the room. Pat Blaylock, are you here? No. Well, thank you, Craig, and thank you, Kevin, for being with us this morning. Our women's matches are later this week as well. The team matches will take place on Friday at the Mission Hills Country Club. Looking forward to that. And our AAA team, with Captain Tony Latendre, clobbered the boys and girls from the north. And if there are any AAA members in the room that played on that winning team, we'd love for you to stand at this time. Congratulations. And our senior team in the North and South Cup matches up at Rancho Santa Maria also prevailed this year and played quite well and represented us as they always do with great talent and skill. So Ron O'Connor and all of the team members, if you're in the room, would you kindly stand? Bill, I'd like you to come back up, if you would, and share with us the results of our recent election.
Paul Levy, Jeff just suggested if we don't win the honors match this year that we form a task force to look into it. I didn't mean to be rude, but I was cracking up here in the front when you said that. I had to share that with you. I am very pleased and proud to announce that the 2 candidates that have been successfully voted in as board members for a term starting this day for 2 years is Scott Hine and Joe Groman. Congratulations. We will swear them in at the end of the meeting along with the new slate of officers. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you. And now I'd like to call on our Vice President to make our financial report, please.
Great, thank you, Jeff. Start with the slides, please. First slide, this represents our balance sheet. As you can see, as of September 30th of this year, we had $11,643,000 in assets, and a majority of our money is in the investment account, which equates to about $9,962,000. One thing I wanted to talk today about is what do we do with that money? What programs are we giving back to the membership, and what are we doing to grow the game? This pie chart here represents $182,500 that we spent on member programs and growing the game last year. As you can see, we spent $117,000 in player development, $29,000 in section meetings, and about $36,000 in membership programs, which I'm going to go through in detail. Next slide, please. Just like today, everybody able to have a free breakfast, and part of those monies that we mentioned, the $29,000, takes care of that. Just to remind everyone, of the 36 of 54 MSR credits you need can come from these meetings. So our plan is to continue to do that moving forward, to take care of all the either lunch or breakfast for our meetings. Next slide, please. Okay, membership programs. We do 6 apprentice orientations a year, 4 new member orientations, employment outreach, advertisements promoting fellow PGA members, as well as education workshops. We spend about $36,000 on those programs. This next slide is the Grow the Game slide. As I mentioned, we spent $117,000 on growing the game. This includes our neighborhood golf, for which we did over 60 events last year and gave over 15,000 lessons. It also included drive, chip, and putt, which we added this year, golf in schools, which I'll get to in a little bit, and it resulted in 142 new junior tour members, equating to $48,000 in revenue. Yesterday, your board of directors approved our 2015 annual budget. Our revenues are going to be $5,165,000, with expenses at $5,113,000, equating to a net surplus of $52,400. Just to bring up your speed on our budget process, our officers on a monthly basis go through the budget. We're checking it versus our forecast to make sure we're hitting the budget to plan, and we're forecasting to be pretty much right at budget of the year, about $33,000 surplus revenue. So we're on pace this year for a very good year. This is a 3-year look back at our investment account. Over the trailing 12 quarters, our average return was a very impressive 11.5%, which equates to an average amount in our investment account of $9,643,000. The reason that's very important is when we figure out the asset allocation we give back to that programming, we look at the trailing 12 quarters. We feel at the investment committee that is the right amount of time to put the proper amount of money to programs. At the same time, always be looking out for any anomalies in the market. So it's worked out very well. Your board of directors also last night approved to increase it from 2% to 4% in spending. So next year we're going to be upping the ante, essentially, going to $385,704 we're going to put towards member programming. So we're very excited about that, and you'll see a lot of that with growth in golf in schools as well as member programming. One of the new member programs we're going to launch next year that we've been working on for the past couple months is more individual or one-on-one training. This is something I'm very excited about, as well as the board of directors. What we're going to be starting to do is offering programming and education to help members one-on-one. For example, if you're a teaching professional and you don't have a website at the current time, you don't have a database that you're marketing to, we're going to help you have somebody go to your club, or you come to the section office, and someone can spend 4, 5, 6 hours with you, creating your own personalized website, getting all your list of your clients that you currently have, creating templated emails that you can send out to those people on a regular basis, essentially finding ways to help you grow your business. That's going to help you put more money in your pocket. At the same time, it's also going to help us grow the game throughout the section. So it's something we're very excited about. There's 3 categories. It's for teaching professionals to help you market your product better, general managers that want to become head golf professionals, as well as assistant professionals that maybe want to go to the next level and be a head golf professional. If there's an area you want to specialize in, this is an opportunity for you to have an expert in that field come help you out and have one-on-one instruction with you to better yourself and your career. Next slide is golf in schools. We launched golf in schools this year. It's been very successful. I want to thank Eddie and Junko for all they've done to make this program grow. And our goal is to add another 25 schools next year in 2015, and we are on pace to do that. So it's a very exciting program. We feel that in the Grow the Game Committee, and with Susan's help and her entire committee, that if we can get students when they're young in grade school and junior high, that we've got a chance to turn them into bona fide golfers that eventually pay to come play our golf courses. So with that, concludes my report, and I will turn it over to Jason Levy, who's going to talk about our accounts as well as the market. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Excuse me. From Canterbury Consulting, our job is to work with the investment committee to oversee the investment portfolio that represented the a little over $9.6 million. And really, our function is to not only marry in what this slide talks about, which is what's going on in the market, but also to work closely with the committee to try to get that 9.6 as big as we can, obviously, so the distribution can be as big as it can. But also to keep an eye on risks and everything that's going on in the market so we can hopefully guide the portfolio in the right direction to avoid any sort of setbacks in the market also. So just wanted to give a couple of bullet points here, talk a little bit about what's going on in the stock market and the bond market, and then relate it back to how it's being positioned within the portfolio, and then just a little bit of an outlook of what we're doing within the portfolio. So on this slide, just real high level, because it's a bunch of boring market data for what's going on for the first 9 months, and I can take it forward through the first 11 months of the year here. But looking through for 2014, it's been mostly a positive year in the stock market, which has benefited the portfolio on an overall nature. You can see the blue bars, which represent the year-to-date period, are mostly north of zero, so that's obviously a good thing for the portfolio. But in the third quarter, there was a little bit of what we call volatility, or code word for negative returns in the quarter. The good news is you pull this through to the end of November, most of that negative couple of months has reversed itself, and we've already kind of bounced back as we move through November. So the sum of this would be that the stock market and the bond market have been performing pretty well through the first 11 months of 2014. Not quite as strong as we saw last year when the S&P 500 was up 32%, which was an extremely strong year. But this year the S&P 500 is up a little over 12% for the first 11 months. And the bond market, which I think is probably the biggest surprise as interest rates have kind of maintained their low posture, is up in the single high digits. So across the board, really all aspects of the portfolio are working pretty well. And with the exception of the one area which is in the middle there, the commodity markets, and that's not too surprising as everybody goes to the gas station right now. Gas is falling, which is a good thing for our pockets, but not necessarily a good thing for commodity investments, which makes up a very small portion. And if we flip one slide forward, on the bottom of the page, you can see the strategy of the portfolio. So if you just focus your eyes into the middle of the page where it says target, that is the strategy that the investment committee has came up with for the portfolio. And earlier in the day, Mr. Walker made a comment about his experiences in staying in the game. And while the performance has been good of the portfolio, it's been about an average of 8.3% since August of 2009. There certainly has been our ups and downs in the portfolio also, and we can all remember on the committee those conversations in some of the summers when Europe was going through some of their troubles, and we've had some of those moments that have tested the confidence in the portfolio. But the importance of the strategy and what the committee has been excellent about doing is staying in the game, and really those targets that we've maintained have what's driven the success of the portfolio. So the portfolio has done very well because of the posture of the portfolio and what we've been able to maintain of staying in the game and staying relative to targets, what we set out to do. So I just point that out because we've had very good returns, but what's going to be key to maintain those good returns is just maintaining our strategy throughout the inevitable ups and downs of the market. And as we look forward, some of the things that we are working with the committee on right now and talking about and addressing is talking about the bond portfolio, the way it's positioned. Everybody in the room is probably nervous about interest rates rising, and what does that mean for anybody who owns a bond portfolio. So we're being very proactive in trying to establish a defensive bond portfolio for that type of environment. And just recently we were talking about the appropriate asset allocation of the portfolio, because we are taking the spending rate higher, and what does that mean for the return that we need to achieve to be able to maintain a return that's higher than the spending. We want to make sure that we're growing the portfolio net of the distribution coming out. So we are constantly adjusting the strategy, but we are trying to make sure that we are very consistent and that we do maintain our strategy that we set out to achieve at the beginning of the portfolio. Great.
Thank you. Thank you, Jason. Canterbury does a great job for us, and we have quite a bit of interaction with Jason and his team and the investment committee. And with that, I'd like to make sure we thank the investment committee, Scott Hine, Eric Loman's here, Susan Roll. Greg Frederick deserves a big credit for chairing that committee. Does an excellent job. and of course, Mr. Bob Coomer, who has been a source of wisdom for us for all these years. So we've had a great run. I've really enjoyed a couple of years working together, and it's been a great return. So thank you very much. Now I'll turn it over to Mr. Johnson.
Yep, good stuff indeed. Please welcome your secretary, Mr. Todd Kiefer.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's been an honor over the last year to serve as your secretary, and I can speak for all of the chapter secretaries. Sharon Kerfman is a lifesaver, so thank you for all your work and helping us stay coordinated. You're going to see a list of new apprentices that are registered with us this year. We have 90 that have registered, and about that same number have attended our orientations through Tony Latendrick. 101. So if there are any apprentices that are here, if you go ahead and stand up and be recognized for being here. Any apprentices? Any? We appreciate you joining the group and look forward to seeing all your service as well. In terms of members, we've received 93 new members to the section this year. And thanks to John Vesper, who oversees our membership committee and orientations, at roughly about that same number of 10 orientations throughout the year. And so for any new members, if you go ahead and stand up and be recognized, please. New members. That's a great achievement. So as you become a member and you start thinking about all the ways that you want to serve and get educated, our certification programs are an excellent source of not only creating value for yourselves, but also your facilities. And we've got 41 of us that are certified in at least one of these categories. And again, just a recognition for anyone that's gone through the certification program. If you just go ahead and stand and be recognized, please. The master professional is, I think some of you heard through Robin's presentation. Robin is the only one in our section that's been certified in all 7 as a master golf professional. And it's one of the great honors is I think most of us are working through that, gone through the certification process to become master professionals. So any master professionals in the room, please stand up and be recognized. So here's a breakdown of who we are. You can see this pie chart over to the left-hand side roughly represents the 24 classifications that we have. The breakdown of categories by position, and just the numbers in terms of 80% of us are members within this section, which is about as high as we've been in the last 3 or 4 years. Go to the next slide. So our grand total is 1,713 members and apprentices within our section. The breakdown within the chapters, and if you kind of notice, we've had most of the transition has been from apprentices to members, and again, about a third over the last 3 or 4 years, we've kind of reached a new high in terms of total members within our association. Member service requirements, which I think most of us are here for, to make sure we get that completed so we can maintain our status. As a reminder, June 15th is the recertification period where it comes to a close. Mr. Tom Wilson and Robin Shelton, thank you for co-chairing the education committee and making sure they're keeping all of us educated. I can tell you personally, on the certification program, you can knock out a lot of education just through that library. I think for $400, the library exists. You do a significant amount of your work online in addition to attending meetings. Probably the easiest way from your office to be able to kind of maintain your certifications. And one last note from Ken Farrell. The compensation survey is going to be launched in January. So January through March of next year. You're going to be getting reached out through your local chapter presidents to make sure that you're going online. It's really, really important. You'll hear this push again, but it's really important to complete this survey really does help in terms of Ken's ability and all of our abilities to kind of get everybody the maximum compensation we can with this information. So with that, that concludes my report.
I'd like to invite our Executive Director, Tom Addis, to come forward and introduce the staff and some of our wonderful sponsors today. The contestants playing this afternoon will be playing for a little over $20,000 because of the sponsors that are with us, and that's a good thing. Tom?
Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning, everyone. It's great to be with you this morning here in San Diego and San Diego Country Club in this marvelous facility, and I know those of you who are playing this afternoon will enjoy this terrific golf course and what it has to offer as well. It's surely and truly a national type golf course, so enjoy. Congratulations to our award winners. We had a very, very nice President's Dinner last night and shared time with our award winners, and it was terrific, and it's always a privilege to be a part of that. So again, congratulations to you. Congratulations to Joe and Scott, and look forward to working with you again, so that's great. I'd like to spend just a couple of minutes and introduce our staff that we have the opportunity to share some time with me on a daily basis, and I know many of you, whether it's in our programs or our tournament programs, have the chance, junior programs have the chance as well. And as you know them and you get to know our staff, you know how dedicated they are and how much time they spend and how much they care about you, because that's what we do. Our job is to care about you. And I say this every time, again, at every meeting, that I'm entering close to my 10th year as your executive director, and this is the best thing that I've ever done. And one of the reasons is not only because of you, it's because of our staff. So I'd like to take a couple minutes and just introduce, and if you all would kind of move forward so everybody can see you instead of hiding, that'd be great. There they are. Most of them have the right uniform on this morning, so that's kind of cool too. In fact, I think maybe all of them, which would be really something that's, we ought to take a photograph of that. Starting with our tournament director, Rob Keller. You all know Rob, and you'll get to see him again today. Dave Kuhn. Dave, are you there? Wave your hands or something. Dave's out working, I guess, on the golf course. Melissa Mecca, our junior golf director. Very nice. Nicole Quick, our meetings and events manager. Nicole responsible, along with Brianne and a number of others, for this meeting today. Brianne Mitchell. Brianne's our communications manager, handles our magazine, as most of you know. Ariana Gomez, our marketing communications assistant. Ariana's probably hiding in the background there somewhere. Christy Custer. Many of you know Christy because you have to know her. She handles our most of our payroll, as well as most of the payoffs. Well, she does handle payroll, but she handles your purse payouts. So if you don't know her and you're lucky enough, you will in the future. So that's a good thing as well. Everybody knows this next Sharon Kerfman. Sharon, are you over there? Are you over here? Sharon's over here. Writing, taking minutes, and Sharon's our membership manager, and I believe most of you in the room know Sharon and the contribution that she makes. Daniel Hale, who works with our foundation programs. Kevin Smith, one of our junior golf managers. Kevin's over there somewhere. Christine Lawrence, who is our junior golf and section administrator. Many of you talk, and when you call the section office, have the privilege to talk with Christine, many of you. Chris Gilkey, one of our junior golf managers. As a matter of fact, Chris is leaving us on December 19th. Chris has just accepted the position of tournament director for the South Florida section. So that's a nice opportunity for Chris, and we appreciate the time that he's been with the section. So the best of luck to you, Chris. That's great. Max Despain. Max, are you over there? Max is one of our junior golf managers, as is Marshall Gerlach. And is Matt Gilson over there. Matt's our player development manager, handles all of our neighborhood golf programs, and works with all of those types of activities that you heard about and you saw in the nice video earlier. Also two more, and John mentioned their names. Junko Suzuki, and Eddie Rodarty, who manage our Golf in Schools programs, our very successful Golf in Schools program that we started this year in force. And it's a gigantic program that will only get bigger and better, and we're really excited about that. And have I missed anybody? Good, because I did last night. And that's not good when you miss your in-house staff. So 2 more staff people who actually work for the PGA of America. Ken, I know, had to depart. Ken Farrell, our employment director for Southern California and Aloha, PGA employment consultant. And then we all know Nikki Gatch over here to my right, who is our player development regional direct manager, PDRM, right? Yeah, you have to know all those kinds of things. And as you know, Nikki worked for our section for about 12 years and was assistant executive director. So thanks to our staff, and we really, really appreciate everything you do. Thank you very much. At this time, and Jeff mentioned at the outset and when he introduced me, I'd like for our sponsors to come forward and say a few words. Today, as Jeff mentioned, we'll be playing for nearly $20,000, those of you who are out on the golf course. And we have approximately $15,000 in sponsorship contributions today. So I think we can be very, very proud of that. And we appreciate what you've done and will continue to do to support our sponsors. That's critical to what we do, not only for your business operations and your club operations or your golf instruction operations, but for your programs that you participate through the section. So I can't express enough the thanks that we have for our sponsors. And with that, I'd like to introduce a couple right now to come up and just say a few words so you can get to know them. I know a lot of you stopped by the exhibits and the tables as you came in, and we appreciate that as well. So first, if he's here, is from Club Car Dave Nelson. Dave, are you here? Here he is, all the way in the back. We only gave Dave 50 seconds to speak, and he's taken up about, see you, Jason, thanks for everything. Seriously. From Club Car and one of our longtime and gracious sponsors, Mr. Dave Nelson.
Good morning, everyone. I'll be quick, as Tom said, 50 seconds. First thing, I want to congratulate the winners from last night. I really enjoyed the dinner. And I noticed that during the dinner, that those winners had 2 common traits that really stood out, and that was leadership qualities and passion. And congratulations to all of you. One of the things that I want to point out today, or take advantage of today, is to share with you our passions at Club Car. There's 3 things that I'd like to share with you today that we focus on. 1 is the quality of our products and services. 2 is the innovation. We like to think ourselves as the innovator. And 3 is our relationships, like the relationship with the PGA section here, as well as this level and the national level. So thank you. It's important to us. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Dave, if you wouldn't mind stepping over and seeing Ariana for a photograph, we'd love that too. Next, I'd like to introduce from Golf Buddy, as well as from Kenwood, to say a few words, and hopefully, again, especially when it comes to communications, to make sure that you contacted Carrie and talked with Carrie about what they can provide for you for your golf operations. And at this time, I'd like to introduce Carrie Walker. Carrie?
Thanks, Tom. I'll make it quick. If you didn't get a chance to stop by the table up in front, we had a bunch of some of our new products from Golf Buddy. Hopefully we'll be able, between me and Doug Campbell, who couldn't make it today, be able to come out and show you all the great new products from Golf Buddy. And also from Infinity Communications in Kenwood, we have a great new digital radio that's going to revolutionize radios. It's going to have a 3-year warranty, cellular quality, and we look forward to showing that to you. And everybody, good luck today. I'm playing, but don't have that much good luck. But have fun and look forward to seeing you in the future.
Thanks, Terry. Another great supporter, and we show our appreciation and thank you. Now from SCNS Sports Foods, or First Tee Bars as you know them, have been a great supporter for about 3 years in providing product for many, many of our events, as well as the opportunity for you at your golf courses, your golf facilities to provide product to your customer. And for the first time at a section meeting, I'd like to introduce Sheila Barnard from SCNS.
Thank you. We just wanted at SCNS Sports Food just to thank you for the opportunity to even sponsor your chapter. We really believe in the game of golf. We believe in integrity, and we also believe in nutrition. And so we are proud to announce this year that we are partnering with the First Tee charity as well. We have a new bar coming out in January, and we have samples of that. 10 cents on every bar will be going to their charity, so we're very proud to announce that. So if you have any questions about our bars, feel free to see me in the foyer, but we do have samples as well. So thank you.
Thanks, Sheila. And hopefully you contact SCNS and participate in that great program. Next, from Golf Scorecards, many of you use this product, and again, that's much appreciated. I'd like to call Mike Suckling to the podium.
Thanks for having me this morning. I'd just like to take this opportunity briefly to say thank you to the section staff and to all the section members for the support over the years. It's been fantastic. We really appreciate it. We look forward to maintaining the relationship for years to come. And for those of you who don't work with us, all we ask is next time you're looking at scorecards, yardage guides, any of that printed material, just shoot us an email, give us a call, let us get some of our information to you, and that'd be great. I hope everyone has a great 2015. Thank you.
That's great, Mike. Thank you. And I can say that, of course, over 20 years ago now, when I was at Singing Hills, now Sequan, that we started with Golf Scorecards way back then. It wasn't called that then. But the product and the pricing and the service was extraordinary then, and it still is extraordinary. So we appreciate that very much. We don't have a representative from Pepsi-Cola today, but I'd like to just say a couple of words on their behalf and what they do for us. And many of you recognize that. Nearly every event that we conduct in this section, Pepsi-Cola provides product for us, whether it's a section championship or our AAA events, section meetings, and we're very, very pleased to have that relationship with Pepsi, and they will continue to do that as we continue to support their product. And as you all know, it's available through the PGA and our Retirement Plus program, so I encourage you, if you haven't, to please take a look at the conversion potential, the conversion possibilities, because it's very meaningful not only to your golf facility, but to your section and you as well as you participate in our event. So I would like to encourage you to do that. We had Peter Rippus scheduled to speak. Is Peter here? Peter, did you make it this morning? Peter was going to talk about his hosting program with the Farmers Insurance Open. We will have some information for you in the next few weeks, so you can understand what that is. And I'd like to just follow up with one more thing, and that was with Odie Vincent and our Play Golf LA program, and how important that is. There's a flyer in your folder. Hopefully you'll take your folders with you today and take a look at that in order to take a strong look at Play Golf LA and participate in that program, because it not only means something to you and your facility and the opportunity to play in the Pro-Am for the Northern Trust, but to help us in regards to our player development programs, as well as our junior golf programs, and underprivileged kids being able to play golf and have access to golf courses in our events. So We encourage you to get involved and sell some tickets. We also have the Riviera Shootout that most of you are aware of, but this also ties into the shootout and the opportunity to play at Riviera following the Northern Trust. For a nice skins purse, we play for about $1,000 a hole, for a total of $18,000. I figured that out on my own too. And so please take a look at that, and hopefully you'll participate in the future. And then before I leave the podium, because I think this is my last opportunity for the day, I would like to just say thank you to Jeff Johnson. You all know Jeff, you all love Jeff, just as I do, and just as our staff. And for what Jeff has provided all of us as PGA members and PGA golf professionals, from the first time I met Jeff in the early 1970s, and we became friends, and PGA friends as well. And I don't know of a more caring and loving individual than Jeff Johnson. And he exhibits that and shows that, whether it's his family, whether it's his golf course, whether it's our staff, or whether it's you, than I've ever seen. And he brought that to the presidency and really, really changed the course, I believe, of our presidency, and really involved you and cared for you, and I think that came across. And Jeff, thank you for that. And it's been a great 3 years. Jeff stepped up, and I don't want to take anything away from John here either, for what John wants to speak about in a few minutes. But Jeff stepped up to do another year, an additional year, and that's a tough deal. And there's been some previous presidents in this room who've done that, and they know how difficult that is when you have a mind focus for 2 years and somebody says, oh, you need to do another year, please. And that is just something that really takes a lot of fortitude, a lot of focus, and Jeff, you did that, and I can't say enough, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Tom. Gosh. I'm going to say something nice about you now, if you don't mind. Tom has very little concept of his own virtues. He has such a gift and shares it so often with all of us, and is totally unimpressed with his accomplishments and with himself. And his humility and his humble nature is really a gift. And it inspires his staff, some 16 other people who I've said many times are single-minded in their commitment to all of us, to the entire membership, and certainly to the board of directors. And I would tell you that they're the finest people I've ever known, the best people I know, and I thank all of you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. So before we move into old business, I'd like to invite who I call the czar of golf, one of the smartest guys on the planet, Craig Kessler, to come up and speak to us for a few moments, please. Mr. Kessler.
Thanks, Jeff. I've never been introduced as the smartest guy in golf or a czar, and so I'm taken aback a little bit. You've given me about 6 minutes to speak, and I'm going to be faithful to that. I'm going to carve a few seconds out at the beginning to say a few thank yous. First to Jeff for the last 3 years, making me feel part of the SCPGA family. Much appreciated. To Tom Addis, who is standing off on the side. Tom just stepped down after 3 years of service as the president of the California Alliance for Golf. He did a great job. He really helped to turn that organization around, and I'm going to speak about that in a moment. Thank you. And I know last night and today we're talking about a lot of champions or great players in the room and a lot of accomplishments, but I want to issue a little counterintuitive thank you to 3 persons here today who I hope don't regard themselves not as winners, but people perhaps who fell a little bit short. And that's the 3 persons who stood for election to the board and didn't quite make it this time. I can't emphasize enough, for someone like me who works in public policy and politics, there is nothing in life that takes more courage than to stand for a public office. You participated in this. Your role is important. As Paul Levy told us earlier today, he wasn't successful his first time, and he is the next president of the PGA of America. So I want to, at least you can take some personal solace that, as Theodore Roosevelt said, you don't inhabit those environments of the cold, timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. And for that, I also thank you. Now, oftentimes when I get introduced, I'm the guy who comes to talk about taxes, water, there's a drought, all kinds of legislation, regulation, perfectly awful things, and you have me towards the end of this to impress you just before you go out and play a great golf course. I'm going to disappoint you a little bit. I'm going to give you 4 quick reasons why I'm extremely optimistic on all of those counts. And I'm going to go through it a little bit quickly, and I think the last one might be the most compelling. First, we just had an election in this state last month. And for the golf industry, look, I want to issue a proviso. There are liberals and conservatives and Republicans and Democrats and independents and decline to state in the audience. What I'm about to say has nothing to do with any of that. Simply said, for the golf industry, this was a successful election in California. Proposition 1, the water bond passed overwhelmingly. It's not a panacea, but it is a good first down payment on a lot of the infrastructure that we need to build for long-term water storage and sustainability, particularly in the southern half of the state. Proposition 2, rainy day fund passed. You may ask, why is that good for the golf industry? Anything which keeps our state's fiscal coffers stable and full is good for the golf industry, not just because the golf industry exists in the state, but because you need to know that every iteration, every plan for tax reform in this state, whether it's at editorial boards, think tanks, simply groups that have come together to try to influence policy, legislators, academia, contains some version of service taxes. Not because it's a heinous idea, but because as a public policy matter, it's a very sound idea, particularly if it comes with corresponding decreases in the highest marginal income tax rates and with decreases in certain corporate tax rates. However, having said that's good public policy and that's what makes it dangerous, it's also not so good for our industry because golf is literally untaxed in California, and everyone knows the litany of troubles we've had in the industry, and to add that at this particular time is not a good thing. So if a rainy day fund keeps that in abeyance, that's good news for us. Also keep in mind there are 22 states in America that tax golf. Included among them are red states like Georgia and Texas, so it's certainly something that will probably come someday. The later, the better. Also, and again, this is not a partisan comment, but the Democratic Party lost its supermajority in both the state Senate and the state Assembly. Again, that's good because that's going to require at least some compromise in Republican votes in order to impose new taxes, like a service tax, or to dust off Proposition 13, which this legislature was getting set to do in this next session. And I'm predicting that there will be very little enthusiasm for doing that, given the election returns and given the fact that Governor Brown has made clear that he is going to hold a lid on his own party when it comes to spending. Now, I'm optimistic. We passed the first groundwater regulatory bill in this last session. California joined virtually every state in the union in regulating groundwater. So if you have wells, that water is starting January 1st is not entirely your own. You'll be paying more in replenishment fees, more in permits, and the ability to regulate is also the ability to deny permits. Now, why am I excited about that? I'm not excited about that. But what I am pleased with is 5 or 6 years ago, our industry would have been literally defenseless in being able to affect the way in which that particular regulatory paradigm unfolds. The devil's always in the details. I know that when that last drought hit from 2007 to 2009, our industry got caught with its pants down. We were unprepared. We used that to get prepared, and literally all throughout Southern California, whether it's the Coachella Valley here in San Diego Public Utilities or San Diego County Water Authority, or in Los Angeles with LA Water and Power, Pasadena, I could go on and on up into Ventura. The golf industry now meets regularly with its regulators, and it also is able to go through those regulators and affect the political process. Glad to be standing in San Diego right now, because there's probably no city where we more effectively did that in the last couple of years, and did that with the cooperation of this section and some persons who are in this room, and I very much appreciate that. So we're prepared for it. It'll unfold, and that makes me optimistic as well. As far as the California Alliance for Golf, and I mentioned Tom Addis's particular contribution as president, let me say that 3-4 years ago it had pretty much gone on the rocks. And in these last 3 years, blew up the Constitution, reconstituted it, using a phrase I've heard here today, instead of from the top down, but rather from the bottom up, truly bringing together an entire alliance of all the stakeholders in the golf industry in the state. And that's important because 3 years ago, groups like the Golf Course Superintendents Association were utterly estranged from the alliance. Golf course owners were not financially supporting it. Now we're set up, and I don't have time to go into all the details. It's starting to ramp up, and again, whether it's groundwater regulation, dealing with drought regulations, taxes, whatever may come, I would have to say they're prepared. And the final thing I would share with you, and it's not necessarily dealing with public affairs, but I don't know about you, but I'm tired of going into golf industry rooms like this, conferences, forums. I'm tired of reading the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times and hearing us wallow in the misery, woe is us, how bad the times are. And I want to share, we all know the numbers, and the numbers don't lie, and these are a great deal of challenges. But I think we don't often put a context to those numbers. We don't keep in mind that for 60 years, from the end of World War II through approximately 2005, this industry enjoyed unprecedented growth and unprecedented prosperity. Every year for those 60 years, on December 31st of each and every one of those years, there were more golf courses in the United States than on January 1st. That involved a period of time with wars, recessions, double-dip recessions, gas lines, you remember all this stuff, malaises, missile crises, threats of thermonuclear war, political crises, impeachments, resignations, all of that. Every one of those years this game succeeded and grew. That means approximately 10 years ago, we were due for a market correction, and we began to see that correction. And that correction got aggravated by the Great Recession, which was the greatest downturn in America since the Great Depression of the 1930s. And then what led us into that was the collapse of the real estate industry. And I think most persons in this room, because you're veterans in the golf industry, know that we got very much tied in with the real estate industry. A lot of golf courses got built, not because they were good business models as golf courses, but because they sold condos and they sold homes. Once those were sold, the golf courses remained, and not all of them were sound business plans. Not all of them were going to survive a collapse. Not all of them were going to survive that first correction. Now, why am I optimistic about that? Because I think it puts it in a slightly different context. And it also, because we've all been so chastened and we've all been so affected by these bad times, I know that we're thinking better than we used to think. We now know we're not as smart as we thought we were. We are leaner, we're meaner, we're smarter, we're better organized. I know certainly on the political side, a game that a decade ago was arguing at every level and balkanized, we're now effectively working together in common cause. And so I think we're at the dawn of a new generation of growth. And I would hope that all of us, whether it's this group or any other golf group I would speak to, will take that attitude moving forward into 2015 and beyond, that things aren't as bad as we think they are. If you think about it thoroughly, we can do better. And if we stop wallowing and start looking a little bit like I did, even groundwater regulation, as opportunities to succeed, challenges to be sure, and in some respects we realize that we were behind some curves, but we're not behind them anymore. And I think we're ready to go. So that's what makes me greatly optimistic going into the holiday season. and into the new year. That and the fact that I'm not playing golf, and I've played here before, and I know how tough the greens are, and you're all gonna, those who haven't played are gonna understand that. Again, thanks, Jeff, for making me feel a part of the SCPGA family, and thanks for what you've done here. Thank you.
Just wonderful, Craig. Thank you always for the participation and the contributions. The California Golf Course Owners Association just recently awarded Mr. Kessler with the Good for the Game Award, and one more round of applause for this. I mentioned last night that I was just seized with respect and awe for the players in our section, the players who are so skilled, the men and women that really make us all look better because of that skill. And I wanted just one more time before we close and move into old business to recognize, thank, and share our appreciation with Michael Block. Michael. So this will be the first call for old business. Anything old you want to talk about? Anything festering that we need to re-explore? Old business. Last call for old business. New business. Second call for new business. All right, we're going to move into an open forum, and then we're going to install our new officers. So with that, anything you'd like to talk about, say, or share, please.
Yeah, Jeff, I was wondering, maybe Paul would be the best one to speak on this in regards to what happened with Ted Bishop.
Paul loves to talk about this. So
Almost got there. You know, I want you to know, where's David Foster? David, you put the whammy on me. I went to the restroom and he goes, no one's asked about Ted. Thanks a lot. Well, you know, first of all, let me say this. In my entire life, I've never been through something that was that difficult. It was a tough situation, not something anyone woke up one day and said, gee, let's see if today we can do this. On that fateful evening when Ted sent the tweet and the Facebook post, you know, they really flew against the mission of the PGA. You have to remember, 48 hours before that, we were partnering with the NBA, the NFL, and leading a diversity and inclusion conference for 2 days, stating how important that is in the world of sports. Secondly, if you noticed about an hour ago when I said kind of the 3 pillars of our long-range plan, one of them is diversity and inclusion. Ted, along with myself and Derek, for 15 months, several meetings, we went through that plan. We all bought into that plan. It was given to the board of directors. That was something that we felt very important. When that happened that evening, and then those messages were sent out to, you know, Ian Poulter has like 1.8 million followers on Twitter. You know, I know a lot of people, and what we've seen is this kind of a division of maybe age, you know, kind of people who are younger get it because they understand Twitter and Facebook, I think, better. I'm not much for Twitter. I opened a Twitter account 4 years ago when I ran for office, and I've sent 9 tweets to this day. So it's not my thing. But Alan Ranowski, on the other hand, who's our honorary past president, no, I'd be remiss if I didn't say that we did vote, our board of directors approved for Alan Ranowski to serve 2 more years as our honorary president, which pleases me greatly. Alan's a great man, a good guy, and he'll represent us well. So when that happened, it really flew against the mission of the PGA. You know, people say things like, well, you were really just reacting, weren't you? Or you were just in the world too politically correct. I stand here to represent the officers, our board of directors, who 19 independently thinking people voted that next day unanimously to make the decision we had to make. We did ask Ted 5 or 6 times to resign. We thought it was in his best interest and the best interest of the PGA of America. That did not work out. The board of directors was already having conversations the night it happened because, as everyone knows, it hit immediately. I mean, we're getting tweets, emails, phone calls from media, from different people, but I want to make this point very clear. It had nothing to do with political correctness, and it had everything to do with the correct decision based on the mission of the PGA, based on the world we live in today, based on the importance of diversity and inclusion, and based on the stature that we want the PGA of America to hold in this world. and that the association and the game are always more important than one person. So I hope that answers your question.
Thanks, Paul. Open forum. Comments? Please, Mr. Hine.
Could somebody maybe talk about the changes to the spending policy in regards to player development, all the monies we're spending and what that means for our section?
I'd like to introduce the man who knows all about that, please.
Thank you, Mr. Hine. Just so everyone's aware, as I mentioned on my slides earlier, we spent about $185,000 this year in 2014. So we mentioned the board went to increase it from 2% of our investment fund to 4%. So we're going to go to $385,000. And we're going to be spending in two areas: member services and growing the game, which is the two pillars not only of our section, but also the PGA of America and part of their strategic plan. So we're very excited about that. 200 more grand going essentially to everyone in this room, as well as to grow the game for us to bring new golfers into this game we all love. So thank you for that question.
Too fast. Yeah. Stretch.
Phil. Any other new business?
Just one thing, just it's easy. I forgot to share. I do want to let everyone know that we, I don't think I said this when I came up, 2017 Senior PNC will be at Toscana Country Club. So it'll be our third Senior PNC in 9 years. Look forward to having some of you in this room who have played. But we'll be hosting it. We'll have all 36 holes. We're building our fourth nine at Toscana. So unlike in 08 and 10 where we shared with Rancho La Quinta and Lucia, we'll have all 36 holes open and all 72 holes at Toscana. So we look forward to having you back. Those great senior players, Jim Petrelli, I don't know how old you'll be then, but you can tell us, I guess, at that time. And just give it back to John.
While we're waiting for Jeff, you said you'd always be there even after I was president, so I know where you went there, but come on.
Thank you. Open forum. Mr. Broman?
Just quickly, this is Jeff's last meeting as our president. And I know I speak for many, probably everyone in here on behalf of myself, the Disabled Golf Committee, all the guys that have helped with all the stuff I do. You know, it makes it so much easier doing what I do with the committee, knowing how much you care about us, going out there and doing all this stuff, knowing we have such an awesome president and you caring, behind us 100%. And I'm going to really miss you, Jeff. I think you've done a phenomenal job as president, and I'm super proud that you were the leader these last 3 years. Super proud of you. Thank you. Can we give it up for our president?
Oh, bless you.
That was good.
Thank you. I'll just say this, because it's still open forum, and I guess I can speak. It's been a happy privilege to have lived this experience, not only for the last 3 years, but really for the last 27 years serving the board of directors. Our directors and our officers, this is a group that makes me smile, but where I really feel best is when I'm with all of you. You're the best people I know, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. So with that, I'd ask Bill if there's no other conversation, and there certainly can be. I'd ask Bill to come up and swear in our two new officers and our two new directors and our new officer corps.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was going to say something similar to what Joe said, but I think you're at the tipping point. I don't think you can handle any more motion, and appreciate what you said in response to Joe's comments. First order of business, your board has approved the new slate of officers for 2015-2016. That would be John McNair, President, Todd Kiefer, Vice President, Tony Latender as Secretary, and Jeff Johnson as Honorary President. I would like to make the motion for the delegation that we approve this new slate of officers. Is there a second? Anyone opposed? That being said, we verify and approve the new slate of officers. At this time, I would ask those four gentlemen, as well as our two newly elected at-large directors, Scott Hine and Joe Groman, and Chris Gilly as the new Metropolitan Chapter representative, to come up and stand in front of you. Yeah. One more time. Now guys, this normally really gets botched. We're going to do it till we do it right, so pay attention. When I say I, you will state your name, not state your name as some people repeat. You're not repeating everything I said. When I say as an officer member, you're either one or the other, so you don't need to say both. You will say as an officer or as a member, depending on which category you fall into of the board. So, raise your right hand, please, and face the delegation. I, as an officer or member of the Board of Directors of the Southern California PGA, do hereby affirm that I shall at all times adhere to and uphold the Association's Constitution, bylaws, rules, and regulations, and that I shall otherwise conduct my activities in a manner that shall be in keeping with my position as an officer member of the Board of Directors of the Association, and which shall reflect credit upon the Association and its members. Congratulations. New President McNair, I now turn the meeting over to you.
My first duty will to make sure we do not have a task force for our honor stick matches. I want to reiterate what Craig said about the three gentlemen that were not selected today for the board of directors. I just want to tell you, my first time running for the board, I was not elected, so I know right where you're sitting, and I empathize with you, and I want you to know my first duty is the president. I'm going to reach out to all three of you to get you involved, because your speeches were excellent, you were very passionate, and we want you helping us out in the section. So thank you for giving it a shot, and we want you involved, and we will have you involved. So thank you. With that, I'd like to then move over to presenting the plaques for the outgoing officers and directors. If Scott Hine, DJ Lamarty, David Foster, Susan Roll, Tom Wilson, and Jason Taylor could please come up.
That was one.
We'll do pictures after.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for all your support on the board. We've enjoyed the last few years working with you. Now we'd like to present a gavel plaque to our outgoing president, Mr. Jeff Johnson. And I know we said a lot here tonight, and we said some great things, and I think the past 3 years have been excellent, Jeff, and you have been a mentor, and the way you truly care about each and every member, and all you've done for us is just something special. You've made our section better, you've made our association better, and you made me better, so thank you very much for all you've done. So I really appreciate that. Just one second. On a side note, last night, I was talking with John Osborne, the director of golf here at the beautiful San Diego Country Club, and we were talking about how great Jeff is. And before the meeting last night started, he said, you know, one of the members came up, I don't know if Jeff was going to be being awarded tonight, and pull a ball marker out that'd been here like 25 years ago, and it says, compliments of Jeffrey Johnson and his San Diego Country Club logo. So John wanted to present this, and that just goes to show that Jeff, over all the years, has really just touched so many people's lives. This member really wanted you to have this. So this is old, it's a little faded, but we wanted you to have it. Good job as well.
So was he.
1970s. So some of the new apprentices, that was probably before you were born. Next, I'd like to bring Mr. Rob Keller up here to talk about today's golf event. Rob? Tom, is there anybody else you'd like to have come up to? Here's Mr. Keller. Fantastic. Well, the course is in great shape, and it, as it always is here at San Diego Country Club. And Mr. Keller, if you'd tell us about today's event.
Thank you, John. And again, for our competition today, the Pinehurst that goes along with our Club Car annual meeting here, I'd like to once again thank all our sponsors and the San Diego Country Club here for hosting this event. We've got a beautiful day out there. The golf course is in wonderful condition. We have a full 120 player field. We have all the hole assignments have been emailed to you in the player notes. If you have any questions, we do have staff members that have the groupings with them, as well as up at the registration table. Upon the conclusion of the meeting, we'll have all of our contestants, if you would, you're welcome to use the locker rooms downstairs to change and prepare yourself for the tournament. The snack bar is available to you. There's an open tab for food at the snack bar for all of our contestants, so any lunch, snack needs that you need, help yourself. The snack bar staff is there and ready to go. We will be playing, as mentioned before, for $20,000 today. That'll be a $3,000 first place prize for our winning team. All of the materials you'll need for today's Pinehurst is going to be on the golf cart. So notice the competitors' hole locations, a sponsor half sheet with contact info for all of our sponsors of the SCPGA Club Car Annual Meeting and Pinehurst Championship, as well as the purse breakdown. We'll still plan on the 11:30 shotgun start for the Pinehurst. We should have plenty of time to get everybody changed and in position. So no rush, but the snack bar is available. The driving range is open and available. All practice facilities are ready for your use. Any questions, we'll be in the lobby. We can assist prior to play. Otherwise, we'll see you out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. If John Osborne would please come up, we'd like to present a plaque to San Diego Country Club for hosting last night's President's Dinner as well as today's festivities. John? Was getting the golf course ready, so we'll make sure he gets his plaque. So on that note, good luck today playing, and it's going to be a great 2015. Meeting adjourned. Thank you. If board members could please come over to the podium here to the front, just so we could get a photo.